when I watch now, points are like 144, I think I saw the other night, and 125. And I remember being in some All-Star games where I think we scored maybe 144, 140. Like, is the high scoring working?
No.
Everybody's doing the same thing.
Yeah.
It drives me crazy.
I saw a clip the other night of the Lakers and Suns where it was 7 straight possessions of 3, 3, 3, 3, 3. And the problem is we've reached a point with the analytics where the 3 is worth more than 2. And so now all the smartest people, yes.
If you make it, you got to make it.
When it comes to Adam Silver's reign as commissioner, it's been pretty lackluster and downright disappointing. And Silver at this point been the head of the NBA for close to a decade. And during that time period, what's actually changed for the better? Has the game improved, popularity improved? Has really anything improved under Adam Silver?
I don't think so.
For a lot of NBA fans, saying the league's declining, it's a very tough subject they only want to entertain for a second. And if you're like me, think the league is declining, you'll get labeled an old head, called nostalgic, and say you're just kind of archaic, don't understand the modern game.
Whatever you say, pal.
So let's take that premise right there. The NBA isn't declining, it's all sunshine rainbows, everything's fine, the league is in a perfect spot. If that was actually true, why would Adam Silver make these big time changes year by year? First off, the 65 game rule that requires players to play and not load manage. Second off, the in-season tournament, the biggest gimmick of all time, the biggest joke in league history. Now the second biggest joke, the play-in tournament. The tournament of 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th seeds to see who makes the playoffs to get bounced in the first round. Again, another gimmick to boost ratings in the short term, but long term, really no big time gain. And last but not least, the most pathetic change, they've been the changing of the All-Star Game format to a 14 round robin instead of East versus West, because of course the players can't be bothered to play hard or give any effort at the All-Star Game.
Man, you are one pathetic loser. No offense. No, none taken.
For really every era prior to this era, you didn't need cheap gimmicks or tricks to motivate players, to motivate fans to watch said players. And for Adam Silver, that's one thing he just does not get. Those short-term fixes, it's like putting lipstick on a pig or salt and pepper on a turd. At the end of the day, it's still a turd and the root problem still persists.
Mathematically, it makes more sense to shoot the 3, but we've got to the point now where I think we've lost, like, this. We've lost this. We've lost the dunks, and what we loved and what we've always loved is competition. There's no competition when it's a 3. It's a contest, not a competition.
I think it's up when Wemba is throwing a 3-point. Get your in the middle.
I hate it.
What are you doing? What is this? It's corny.
What that guy said, but what both those guys said.
Now, if you ask a lot of older NBA fans, older NBA players, their problem with today's NBA is the amount of threes being taken on any given night. And basketball at this point, it's become predictably unpredictable. What you can predict, 40-45 threes at minimum. What's unpredictable is how many of the shots actually go in. But again, what you can predict, they're going to keep shooting those shots no matter what.
Bridges goes to the weak side corner. Josh Green. Vasa Micic. Looks Micic kicking it back to Miller. His 3-point shot is long. Battle for the rebound. Won by Miles Bridges. He's been out for the last. Cut off by Smith. Miles Bridges, the left-hander. This little zone look there. Cody Martin has entered the game.
Vooch is a stabilizer for them when they go through these cold spells.
Miller coming off a screen from Richard. Miller with shot clock at 5. He'll fire up a 4. That's way offline.
And kind of building off that point of basketball, being predictably unpredictable, in all of NBA history with games of 40-plus threes taken at under 30% shooting, there's a total of 735 games that fit that criteria. Out of all those games, 716 come from the 2020s era onward. The 1980s, 0 such games. The 90s had 1, 2000s had 2, and the 2010s, the remaining few. And look at the overall numbers for quarters where a team gets outscored by 20 points or more. Right now in the NBA, we had 29 such quarters this season, on pace for the most ever. And looking at the full list of 20-point margin quarters in NBA history, out of the top 10, 9 of the 10 come from 2015 onwards. 5 of the 10 from the 2020s, and this year will make it 6 pretty easily. When both teams shoot 40-50 threes, you get blowouts like this way more often. And again, if you're down by 20 in the first quarter, down by 20 at halftime, the majority of fans might click off that game, do something else, or go to bed early.
If you need any help, give me a holler. I'll be upstairs asleep.
In a lot of ways, this era is the copycat era. See one team do something, a great player do something, then their guy, their team, has to do the exact same thing. Coaching style, personnel, who's their superstar, does not matter. How you gotta win is playing that way. In past eras, it's like making Dana Barros your Allen Iverson. Barros' talent, not even close to AI. But you know, he wears number 3, plays in Philly, a scorer first point guard, undersized. So you know what? You're Allen Iverson, take as many shots as you want. That in today's league is kind of what's happening with Steph Curry. Everyone wants to be Steph Curry, but it's like Dana Barros being Allen Iverson. It's simply not going to work for the vast majority of players. Now, once again, looking back at the modern NBA, 2 guys I define as unique. One, Anthony Edwards, a high-flying guard, makes acrobatic layups, plays defense, but also Victor Wembanyama. Now, these 2 guys last year 100% were unique players and must-see TV. Now, this year so far, their game, while they still are unique, they're much more in the mold of a modern-day NBA player. As someone like Victor, who in theory should be a low-post demon, a monster in the paint, he's taking almost more threes than twos. For both these guys who are unique players, their game in the modern era has been dulled and kind of conformed the overall idea of 3 is more than 2. And while that notion at its basic level is true, someone like Victor, who's 7'4", should be in the paint dominating on the low post.
And he had separation that time. That's why he got the block. Getting a good shot at it. And yeah, they chase things down afterwards. Might have just gotten an email.
And looking at Anthony Edwards, if you want to talk pure entertainment value, this guy last year, he was box office, the hottest thing in the NBA. And why was that? His game wasn't just threes and layups. He was coming off screens, spotting up, taking the mid-range, getting the post-ups, really doing everything at all 3 levels. As looking at Ant last year in the postseason, mid-range shooting, 4 per game. At the basket at the rim, 6 per game. Now threes took 7, which today's era isn't that much. That version of Anthony Edwards was the hottest thing going in basketball. Now Ant this year tweaked his game to fit the modern era, not the other way around. As looking at Ant this year from the mid-range, 2.9 per game, at the rim only 3.8 shots per game, and from 3, an absurd 10.2.
I don't know you anymore.
Speaking for myself and a lot of NBA fans, 3-point shooting is fine. But the amount of 3-point shots being taken nowadays, the amount being missed, that's the problem. And when teams are so stubborn they only shoot threes, no matter if they miss 40, miss 30, they keep shooting, that is bad basketball, and more importantly, bad entertainment. So that right there is the end of the video, and I'll say one last thing. Why the NBA is declining, there's tons of reasons. You can look to the players, the defense, 3-point shooting. You can look at a ton of factors where the league is struggling. But looking at all those factors, what it comes back to is Adam Silver, the head of the NBA, the boss of the players. If the NBA was going great, Adam Silver would get all the praise. Well, things aren't going great, so Adam Silver, you get the majority of the blame as the boss, the guy in charge, and the tip of the spear for the NBA. As always, thank you guys for watching, hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you next time.